Hello, class. This is a continuation of the story, A Chronicle of the Peacock. So, yesterday we began with the first few pages and we saw that the narrator is someone who was disturbed by a column in the newspaper that talked about the effect of the new atomic bomb that was tested in Rajasthan and how the peacocks, the many peacocks that inhabit Jaipur and Rajasthan, flew away in shock due to that impact. Okay, and from there he remembers his time when he visited Jaipur a few years ago, and he remembers how he was mesmerized by the many peacocks who had come out and who were just wandering here and there, and he even felt like they had come to welcome him. They were there to welcome him. So the news disturbed him very much, and he says that the news disturbed him so much that he felt like he should do something about it. So he decided to write a column about it. And he thought that once he had written a column, his duty was done. But it still continued to disturb him even after writing the column. The trauma of the peacock still continued to disturb him. And that is what he was discussing. And then he goes on to tell us about, when he remembers about the trauma of the peacock, there is another bird that comes to his mind, that is the duck that was, floating in the Gulf Stream, okay, in the oil spilled Gulf Stream. And this oil spill was a result of the war between the Gulf War, okay, between and the Gulf War and the war between US and Iraq. And it talks about how even in those wars, even in every war, that is, in every apocalypse that happens, it is the poor and the weak who have to suffer. It is the poor and the weak who have to pay for the sins of the others. So he considers the duck also as a symbol, a sacred prophet who is ready to give up his life, who is ready to sacrifice for the sins of humans. All right. So that is what we discussed yesterday. Now we'll begin with the second paragraph in page 46. He begins by saying that at first I didn't recognize the duck as a symbol of our time. I lacked the visionary insight to see that he had the grace of a prophet. It never occurred to me to write a story about him. I forgot about him completely. He was only a poor small duck, not a gorgeous peacock. So, what if he had been a royal swan instead of a mere duck? Okay, so here is where he's questioning himself. In the beginning, when he had seen this duck and he had read about the Gulf War and all of that, he knew that the ducks were suffering, but that did not affect him as much as the fact that the peacocks were suffering affected him. So he's asking, he did not recognize, because the duck is a very plain bird. So he does not recognize the duck as a symbol of something or as a prophet. All right, and he failed to recognize its grace, and he says that it never occurred to him that he should write a story about those ducks. He should write about the trauma of those ducks. It never occurred to him. And he completely forgot about him, probably because he was just a duck, okay, and not a swan. Now, what if he had been a royal swan is the question that he's asking. But there are no royal swans in the world, okay? If you remember, if you've read your stories, and if you've seen these old palace-like films. Okay, you must have seen in all of these palaces where kings and queens live, there will be these royal swans who will be just wading so gracefully and so beautifully in the ponds and the lakes there. Okay, so the duck is never a beautiful symbolic bird, but if it was a swan, maybe the situation might have been different, is what the narrator is saying. But there are no royal swans today, are there? Once upon a time, it was difficult to decide whether the royal swan or the peacock was the king of the universe, he says. Okay. In those days, royal swans used to swim in lakes, okay, that were as clear as pearls. Pearls പോലെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന വെള്ളത്തിലാണ് അവർ swim ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നതെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. And at that time, it was difficult to realize which is the greater bird. Is the peacock the greatest, or is the swan of the greatest? Who is the king of the universe? But in our times, there are no swan lovers who are seduced by pearls, nor are there any royal swans that swim in the Mansarovar lake, right? So he's talking about those mythical old stories where, swans used to be there, and there used to be people who used to be in love with swans, and the swans would change their appearance and become humans. Okay, then there were pearls and all of those stories. He's alluding to all of that here, and he talks us about the lake, Mansarovar Lake. I'm sure you are familiar with Mansarovar. Where is Mansarovar? Yes, it is a sacred lake, right? It is said to be in the topmost portion of the Mount Kailash, and it is connected to the story of Shiva's head and having a waterfall, Ganga, flowing through that. So it's connected to that story. It is also the site from which 3 or 4 holy rivers come out from this particular lake. All right, and it is a sacred lake not only for Hinduism but also for Buddhism as well as in Jainism. This particular lake is considered to be a sacred lake. So he's talking about that Mansarovar Lake and how swans used to swim in that, but now there are no swans there. Okay, no one even knows where Mansarovar is anymore. The lakes are dry, the rivers are polluted, and the air is thick with with pollutants everywhere. The royal swans have flown away in search of clean air and pure water, so they are not here anymore. They are somewhere. They're somewhere in a place where there is still clear air and clean water. They exist only in the world of fables and myths. Fables and Kadagal. So they exist only in these stories that we hear from our grandmothers and from our books. They do not exist in our real life anymore. Only the ducks and the geese, who are not so elegant, who are not so great, they are the ones who have been left behind. Okay, and they are the ones who are carrying the burden of our times, who are carrying the weight of our sins. Till recently, he says, the peacock in all its grandeur was a link between the past and the present. Let's see how that is. When the monsoon breeze cooled the evening, the song of the peacock used to fill the air. So he's remembering, okay, that when he was a kid, he's going back to his past time when he was a child. And he remembers that once there was a peacock that came and sat on the parapet of his terrace. And he was so excited to see that he quickly ran up to the terrace and tried to hold its tail. He was very, very slow and he did not make any noise. But still, as soon as he was about to touch this peacock's tail, it shuddered and it flew away. All right. And that is when his Dadima, his grandmother, came and scolded him and says that you should never trouble a peacock, son. He is the bird of paradise. അപ്പം ഈ ലോകത്തെ bird അല്ല peacock. Peacock is the bird of paradise. So you should never trouble him. എന്നാണ് grandmother പറഞ്ഞത്. The bird of paradise, I often wonder, what is he doing here then? Okay. He is paying for his mistakes, grandmother says. അപ്പോൾ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് peacock paradise-ലെ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നതെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ ദാദിമ പറഞ്ഞ എന്താ? That he had made a mistake, he had committed a crime, and that is why he's paying for it. All right. Oh my son, what did he do? എന്ന് ആ ബോയ് നറേറ്റർ കുഞ്ഞായിരുന്നപ്പോൾ ചോദിച്ചു, എന്താണ് ചെയ്തത് ഇത്രയും വലിയ തെറ്റ് that he had to leave paradise. So Dadima says that he is innocent, but he got trapped in the vicious wiles of Satanന്റെ എന്താണ് ചതിയിൽ പെട്ടുപോയതാണ്, അല്ലാതെ പീകോക്ക് ശരിക്കും തെറ്റൊന്നും ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. പീകോക്ക് is innocent എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. How did he get trapped? എന്ന് ബോയ് ചോദിക്കുന്നു. That wretch disguised himself as an old man and went to the gates of paradise. All right. So Satan എന്താ ചെയ്തത്? He disguised himself. വേഷമൊക്കെ മാറിയിട്ട് ഒരു old manന്റെ രൂപത്തിൽ വന്നു. And he came and he wanted to enter paradise. പക്ഷേ പാരഡൈസിന്റെ ഗേറ്റ് കീപ്പേഴ്സ് നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ എന്താ അവർക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി ഇത് Satan ആണെന്ന്. അപ്പൊ അയാളെ കയറ്റിയില്ല, തിരിച്ചു പറഞ്ഞു വിട്ടു. All right. But they refused to open the gate. And then he was going away, and that is when a peacock who was sitting on the wall, paradise in the wall, pittiil oru peacock iruppundairunnu. Okay. And he felt very sorry for this old man. Peacock nu manasilayilla adu Satan aannu. He thought that this is an old man. So he said that, Bade Miya, I'll help you across the wall. Njan ningale help cheyam ennu parayunnu. Okay. And so Saturn was very happy and അയാൾ നോക്കിയിരുന്ന അവസരമാണിത് അല്ലെ. So he jumped onto the back of the peacock. The peacock flew. Now remember, all this is mythical. Okay, don't think of the logical connection here. So he got on the peacock's back, and the peacock flew over and entered the Garden of Eden. Okay, but when Allah Miya found out, he was very, very angry that Satan had been allowed to enter. All right. So when he exiled Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, he asked the peacock also to leave. All right. So when he was very angry, he realized that Satan has entered and he has tempted Adam and Eve and tempted them to sin. So what did he do? When he exiled അവരെ Garden of Eden നിന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു വിട്ടപ്പോൾ പീകോക്കിനെയും ആ കൂടെ പറഞ്ഞു വിട്ടു.